in a small way, we've started, in Lajpat Nagar, in Nehru Place, which is where our office is, and we see that right beneath us, the reality of these street children. What we would like to see happen is that these children, are able to access education, especially since we have now a fundamental right which says every child between 6 and 14 must have access to free compulsory elementary education. We would like to see these children ending up in school rather than being on the street and being exploited, being abused by their employers, mostly small-time traders or even the police in some cases, who are apathetic to their plight. So we would like to take them away from these exploitative situations, that they are protected from abuse and exploitation, and that they do end up in school. That is our long-term vision.
That's absolutely right, Priya. If we can get these children to school, then I think a major part of the problem would be looked into. It's time for a short break. Stay with us. We will continue this discussion after the break. Welcome back after the break. Today, as we all know, is the International Day for Street Children, and today's discussion is all about street children and how we can try and make their lives better. We have been discussing this with Aftab and also with Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay, as you were saying, that there are a lot of factors by which children come onto the street, and then, of course, they have to face, as Aftab said, a whole lot of problems. But we see a number of small girls on the streets, and I have seen them also over years growing up into teenagers. And when we talk of exploitation, I believe these girl children would also undergo hell of a life, which must be very traumatic. What do these girls have to tell you, and how can they really be saved from this? Aftab.
Yeah, you are right. That's you can imagine that a girl, right from there, that's really when 5, 6, 4 years old, as young as and up to the whole teen age on the street, which is really not safe in any means. And the whole lot of, even we have really interviewed focus group discussion with these girls, and the kind of things you can't imagine we can. That's all sexual exploitations, harassments is very day-to-day thing. By also the peers, that the other children, they are also the kind of things. Also, they are really at risk of commercial sex exploitations in very organized way, and day-to-day harassments, physical touch, which they don't feel comfortable, verbal abuse, kind of things. That is the something very much part of their life. They sometimes they used to. They don't feel even that anything wrong when the people say this is their fate to be there. That is one part. But the extreme exploitations, many of the children are also subjected to, both boys and girls, and especially girls are really subjected to sexual exploitations. Many of them ended up also in organized commercial sex exploitations. And that is really
try and rehabilitate them. What exactly, is there a special sort of way of dealing with girls? Or do you look at them all as a group of street children?
Before we get into the rehabilitation part, I would like to also add to Aftab's this version that many of time you will find that there are more boys on the streets, and that would be a little strange to see that where are these girls. So one of the dangerous part is that the boys, because of their maybe because of the gender, or maybe because they feel more secure on the streets, you will find them on the streets. But the girls generally take protection with those families which are not their parents. It is just like to take shelter, they have to either work for them, either beg for them, or work and do all kind of work to get a small shelter. We have seen many such girls on the streets. We are working as Chetna in many part of Delhi at Kalkaji Temple, Sai Baba Temple, Lajpat Nagar, Sarojini Nagar market area. I feel that the girls are like in very vulnerable situation. we have noticed in market areas like Rajput and Nagar and Sohinagar that even the old person, around 50, 60, they are luring girls for anything. They want sexual favor, they want, they give money and show money and ask them to come for an hour and all. So this is really a panic situation for girl. And
so it's actually a flesh trade. It's actually
there are more. I'll not say that it is a flesh trade, but there are more chances of getting into things like this. For example, I tell you that each such girl or a boy who is in parental contact have a target to achieve at the evening. They have to earn 100 rupees for the family, whether it is coming through rag picking, whether it is coming through the selling of books, whatever means. In many times when the child is not able to fetch that money, then more chances are they getting into some other means which may not be good for them. Anyway,
but is this only parental pressure? Which
like we were discussing about the any gang or something like that. It is we did a study for anti-slavery in 2008, and it was revealed, and we did at 14 locations in Delhi, and it was revealed that it is difficult to understand. They are the parents who are actually acting as a goon rather than any commercialized or any gangsters. So when you take these children to the protection mechanism, for example, I want this child to take out from the street. When the parents are doing this, there is no such mechanisms existing in India or the law, which is saying take child from the parent. Even
because
if,
that parent is misusing,
because parent is there. If you take this issue to the court, until unless parents are defunct, like they are not able to give care and protection to the child, then only we can take children out from the clinches of the parents. If the parents are asking them to beg, if the parents are, but again, this is a very difficult.
But Sanjay, we do have laws which you say that begging, or child labor. I mean, under those laws, can these children not be protected?
Yeah, here that's what Sanjay was raising. I think that will be interesting to discuss. That two aspects. What are the so many laws? As you saying that anti-begging is one. Right now, that as Priya was mentioning, right to education. It is something very, very important legislations. Anti-Child Labor Act we do have. Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act we do have. But that the problem is that their reinforcement, implementation of these acts are somewhere it's not strict enough.
So you are looking at it from the judicial point of view, or are you looking at
I think
negligence by the police?
All level. I think largely that the implementing agency, reinforcement agency is police. So police in that case, the labor department will be the other things. So that is very, very important. Now I give you one very simple example. If now the primary education, elementary education is free and compulsory. If a 12 years old kid is roaming on a street, it means he is not going at the school timing. He or she is not going to school. Very simple. It means somebody, either parent is not taking care of these things. They are not. So that will be the things, responsibility of the authority, both that whether it's the police, education department, why a child during a school hour on a street? Why not he or she should be in the school that time? Why? That will be the question, these things to ensure. In many countries, if a child will be found on a street or on road or in other mall during a school hour, that will be a big question. But in India, as in the beginning you said in your opening introduction of this whole discussion, that we are used to, we say, okay, these are the poor kids. In any case, they are not really, education is not for them. They are in any case, they have their fate. It's a poor country, what we will do. That is something, two level. One will be the strict enforcement of the legislation, where there should be no tolerance of those things, whoever, whether it's the parents, whether it is any mafia, whether it is somewhere the education department is not ensuring, that will be one point. Second, as a society, we all, those who are watching this program, that's the also responsibility. We not really tolerate this, not used to get it. We should be sensitive and why not X, Y, Z children who are on the street. They also have rights to go to school. They also have rights to enjoy their livelihood, not a street.
But tell me, Sanjay, if you, me or XYZ sees a child who should be in school on the street, what action can that person take?
Like, there are many opportunities now, because this question is asked at various forums where we go, and then people ask you that how can I help or how the common person can help. I think there are various ways to do it. First thing is that the change of perception, change of attitude. Like अभी हमने बात की कि चलता है attitude है जी, ठीक है बच्चे हैं तो हम क्या करेंगे अगर, because we also face this problem when we get into the child is getting into any kind of illegal case and we are handling it through police. Police also says अगर इसको ये काम नहीं करेगा तो खाएगा कहाँ, आप इसको कहाँ ले जाओगे, क्या करोगे, इसको रहने दो जहाँ रहता है ये, या हम कहाँ से इसको लाएंगे. So one thing is that we have to change our attitude that like us, child also has a right to enjoy and he has all the right or she has all the right to have a good childhood at least. Second thing is that when that attitude is we are getting, then also we have to see are we our act not adding into the more number of street children. I'll give you a very specific example. There is a vicious circle. In the morning when I start my day, I see the local TV and I see my horoscope and I find that something goes wrong with me in the day. And some Baba appears and says that if you give some chana and kal dala and to a child or a woman, you will be like your sins will be out. And when you go, you don't have time to go to temples, and the easiest way to find these children is on streets. And when you start giving them, so you need somebody who can take alms, and there are children who can take them. So it is by our act we are actually adding into the numbers. So one thing is that if we can change that mindset. Second is by any of our religious perception or whatever, please see whether my act is not adding into the number of street children. And third is there is a good opportunity to take note of these children and help them out. If as a individual, if we say, okay, I'll in my life help 3 or 4 or 2 children who are living in my nearby vicinity to go to school, to pursue, take the child to the school, local school, and ask them why the child is on the street and can he or she be given admission. I think the schools have enough directions now. They cannot say no.
I don't think the problem would be there. Even if I took a child off the street and put him in school, how am I going to ensure that he or she remains in school?
And that is what I am saying, that it is something like these children are lacking parental support. If I am become a guardian for some time and say, okay, if the child is on the street, can I, like my child, I will go to school and see whether the child is coming or not. If not coming, why not coming? If coming, whether he or she is.
But Sanjay, बाद में शाम को तो वो बच्चा अपने घर ही जाएगा ना. And as you said, if the parents want that child to be begging, what are you going to do? So somewhere I think the law needs to look into that.
Absolutely. I think that's the things what Sanjay was also trying to say. That two level. One will be as the individual, as a good citizen, we should feel that's our responsibility. Also, those organizations working in more concerted way, they also have to do. One will be the legal aspect. Definitely, it has to be reinforced strictly. Whether it is from the parent side, teacher side, whoever really exploiting the children or not allowing children to enjoy their that will be one thing. Other thing at the same time, also to work with the parents. Okay, that will be not only the police will be not the solution. Also somewhere the organizations have to engage with the parents. And that's why it is so important.
But there may be certain children who you don't know the parents. They're
absolutely.
Just,
so that is the tracking system. If those children who are on the street, they are on no parental guardian, parental care, they are just living on a street, they have no other care support, then the role of the state is very vital in that, very crucial. Then in like many other countries, it is possible now in this world-class city we are talking about. So it is also whenever we plan a city, we should also plan. That is the planners, our city planners, they take over the all infrastructure. They also have to plan about the human beings. And many of the things they know that the children on the street are the reality. So in future, how to mitigate these things and how to take care of those children who don't have their parental care. So there should be a state intervention required. That's in terms of entering shelters, in terms of their homes, care homes, or whatever the foster care, sponsorship, that n number of programs governments into. And this is not something unknown in the world. There are many other countries we have successfully done, and I'm very sure we can also do. But the things require that Rashmi, that's the political will and the concerted way how we really work toward these things.
You're absolutely right. We now come to the end of today's discussion. Thank you so much, Aftab. Thank you, Sanjay, for being with us. And there is much to be done to provide a future for these children. We all know that. But as we say, that much effort is required. And now it's time for the update in English, news update in